It's Wednesday, March 3rd, and this is now on HNN.
And we should use the travel quarantine and the vaccination passport for people coming from the mainland and from other places in the world.
So-called vaccine passports could soon determine who can travel, stay at a hotel, or even visit a bar.
Is it going to be something that's digital and tracks you?
The Senate could begin debating coronavirus relief as early as tonight. I'm Natalie Brand with a deal struck on direct payments, plus the warning from health officials to states that are loosening coronavirus restrictions.
Every individual is empowered to do the right thing.
Plus a progress report on the Honolulu rail project now under new leadership.
I do see inefficiencies and redundancies.
These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for spending some time with us on this Wednesday. You're watching This Is Now. Just moments ago, the State Department of Health released new coronavirus case numbers.
Health officials are reporting 20 new cases today and 2 new fatalities. The breakdown by island shows 1 case on Kauai, 11 on Maui, and 8 on Oahu. Hawaii's case count has been steadily declining since mid-January, and the lieutenant governor says it's time to lift some of those travel restrictions.
Well, our rates are so low now that we should just dump the inter-island travel quarantine altogether. It's a total waste of time and money. It's so low that we're not protecting anybody by doing this stuff between inter-island. All we're doing is keeping our families from being together and keeping commerce from happening.
Dr. Green says the travel quarantine and eventually a vaccine passport should only be used for people coming from the mainland or international destination. He's hoping the governor will sign off by next month. Now, countries like Israel are already using this concept of a vaccine passport, and the European Union just proposed them. But there are some ethical and privacy concerns here. Roxana Saberi reports from London.
Israelis must now scan in to get in to gyms, hotels, even concerts like this.
It is all set in the telephone. It's very convenient.
For more than 3 million Israelis and counting, this is the ticket back to some kind of normalcy. The government-issued Green Pass shows personal details and proves they've had 2 doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. Now countries across Europe and beyond are considering similar so-called vaccine passports or immunity certificates to inject life back into a flagging tourism industry and revive businesses and hospitality, like pubs. The UK is studying whether to introduce vaccine certificates.
Yep, all good.
We've never thought in terms of having something that you have to show to go to a pub or a theatre. And so there are deep and complex issues.
Issues like potential discrimination against people who don't want a jab, along with those who can't get one for medical reasons or because there's not enough supply.
So these people won't be able to participate in life, in public life, in social life, in economic life in the same way as their counterparts who have been vaccinated.
Claire Wenham from the London School of Economics says data privacy is another concern.
Is it going to be something that's digital and tracks you? And that obviously opens a whole different range of conversations.
But as governments debate immunity certificates, businesses are pushing ahead. Some cruises and airlines, for instance, say they'll require proof of inoculation to board. The WHO tells CBS News it opposes requiring vaccines for travel as long as the global supply is limited and their ability to stop the spread of the virus is not yet clear. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, London.
Kauai County is ready to drop its mandatory quarantine for out-of-state visitors a month earlier than expected. Mayor Derek Kawakami asked Governor Ige for permission to join the Safe Travels program starting April 5th. This would allow visitors to skip the 10-day quarantine if they get a negative COVID test 3 days before their flight. Right now, Kauai is the only county giving visitors the option to stay in resort bubbles for at least 3 days after arrival.
We're forecasting that by April 5th, if we're not slowed down or disrupted,
We're going to be hitting those, visitor industry workers. We're going to be hitting other age groups that are still walking that line as far as being critical to getting vaccinated.
Vaccinations are a big reason for the change. With a population of just over 70,000 people, Kauai has administered more than 24,000 doses. 4 planes similar to the one involved in that emergency landing in Denver last month are currently grounded in Hawaii. Billy V has the update.
Sources tell us that the United Airlines 4 777 aircraft are on the tarmac at Daniel K. International Airport right now. They all have the Pratt & Whitney 4000 engine. That's the one that burst into flames on its way to Honolulu 2 weeks ago. Debris from that plane rained all over a Colorado neighborhood. Boeing grounded all of its 777 planes with similar engines. United has 69 of the aircraft currently in service. Other airlines fly similar planes to Hawaii. We're told Korean Air, Japan Airlines, ANA, and Asiana Airlines fly similar Boeing jets here. Pratt & Whitney calls its 112-inch 4000 engine the leader for the 777 aircraft. The company notes its reliability. The FAA says the engine's fan blade failed during that Denver flight last month. It's ordered all airlines to do a thermal image inspection of the large titanium fan blades that can detect cracks in areas that can't be seen with a visual inspection. The FAA is also looking at revising how much time is needed for these engines between reviews. Right now, it's about 6,500 flight cycles. One flight cycle is takeoff and landing.
New today, police say 2 people were thrown from an SUV that crashed on the Honolulu Freeway overnight. One of them passed away. It happened around 11 p.m. near the Ola Lane overpass. Investigators say a 21-year-old woman lost control of the vehicle and struck the center median. Her 2 passengers were ejected onto the road. 1 man died. The other man was rushed to the hospital in serious condition. The driver was also seriously hurt. She was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence, driving without a license, and negligent homicide. Now, police say both speed and alcohol appear to be factors in this crash. Now, a lot of people were caught in this traffic mess this morning. Multiple lanes were blocked near the H1-H2 merge after a semi-truck lost its load of concrete blocks in the middle of the freeway. It caused gridlock in the eastbound direction for much of the morning. It all started around 6:30 a.m. Crews spent hours cleaning debris. The DOT now says all lanes have reopened. The interim CEO of HART describes the rail project as, quote, a mess as she grapples with a $2.3 billion budget shortfall. Here's what she had to say this morning on Sunrise.
Just as you well know, we are more than 10 years into this. We're well over budget. We're way behind schedule. Is construction even going on right now? Can you give us an update?
Sure. Construction is going on the airport station guideways segment. But further past that, we have stopped all construction in the Dillingham area.
Now, you say you stopped construction. Why is that exactly? Because we've heard multiple reasons.
Okay, so the reason I stopped it was we actually did not have 100% design drawings complete. You need to have that complete in order to go to the city to obtain permits before you can start work. And so we're just paying a contractor to be on standby out there. There's some work being done, but it's not the effective way. And I did go ahead and cancel that contract because the contracting mechanism that we use, they call it indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, is not the correct mechanism to use for a massive infrastructure project like this.
You say that the designs weren't ready for this portion. I mean, we've been working on this for 10 years. How is that even possible?
Good question, because the designers are tasked to do it in segments, in sections. And so this particular segment wasn't done 10 years ago, but it was done for several years. In fairness to the consultant, they were kind of pulled around. We're going to do a design build. We're going to do a design bid build. We're going to do guideway station utilities together. Oh, you know what? We're just going to do utilities now. So they were kind of jerked around all over the place. So I can't necessarily blame the designer for the delay. I think we are we caused that. I think HART caused a lot of that. So right now they are on target, on focus to do the utility relocation designs. We're calling it areas 2 through 6. So that's from Iwilei to Ala Moana Shopping Center. And they are targeting to have the 100% design drawings done in May of this year.
Okay, well, there's a timeline for that. That's good. I guess my question for you, Lori, is, watching this, I remember when this went out to vote in 2008. Here we are in 2021. What are you doing to make sure that all the horrible and the missteps and the wasted time and wasted money that we have seen in the past, what are you doing as an interim CEO to make sure that this is not going to happen again?
Oh, I appreciate that question. So when I was at the Department of Environmental Services, we have a massive infrastructure program there. It's about $5 billion, and all of our projects were on time and on budget. And the way we were able to complete that is don't change direction. If you're going to stick to a direction, stick to it. Like I mentioned earlier, the AECOM, our consultant, was kind of jerked all around. So going forward, we have a plan going forward to finish Dillingham and going to Ala Moana Shopping Center. And I guess I'm trying to cut out unnecessary costs. I'm really diving into how the contracting was done in the past and stick to our plan. Like I said, for areas 2 through 6, we're going to do the utility relocations. We're hoping to get that contract out before the end of the year and do a more prudent contract mechanism, a firm fixed price versus an IDIQ.
More than a week after State Representative Sharon Har blamed cough medicine for her drunk driving arrest, Honolulu police released officer body cam video from that night.
I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
No, I'm embarrassed.
Are you sick, injured, taking any medication?
Promise I'm okay.
Police say Har and her vehicle smelled of alcohol despite her repeated public claim that she only had 1 beer with dinner. Har also refused a field sobriety test after driving the wrong way down Beretania Street. She's due in court on April 20th. The unemployment office has put a bot blocker in place to reduce volume to its call center. Casey Lund has the details.
The DLIR says this new bot blocker that they brought online yesterday morning should reduce the number of calls they get from some 7,000 per hour to around 1,500 per hour. DLIR Director Ann Pereira Estachio said yesterday repeat callers will be blocked so that more people can get through. The department says their helpline has been plagued with people using apps to repeatedly call the unemployment office. According to their data, the call center was getting around 200,000 calls per day, somewhere again around 6,000 to 7,000 per hour. It can only take around 1,600, and it had received about that much on Tuesday morning.
We probably can't get through 5,000 calls a day, which would probably what we're looking at that aren't picked up on a daily basis on a one-to-one number call. And so we'll get through as many as we possibly can.
We spoke to unemployment claimants who say they're skeptical that any of these changes will actually improve customer service.
Do I have any faith that this time things will be different? No. I honestly don't. And that's it's just really upsetting to hear. And it's really frustrating for me to sit here and watch press conference after press conference and know that nothing's changing. Now we can't, it's one excuse after the other. I don't feel like anyone's taking responsibility.
The director says they're also setting up a team to handle unanswered calls and call people back. She continues to reject doing in-person services here at the unemployment office, meaning the office will remain closed for those who need help getting issues resolved with their claims. Now back to you.
Mayor Rick Blangiardi now says there will be no employee furloughs for the city. His spending plan for the next year now amounts to nearly $4 billion. So about $3 billion is for operating expenses, $1 billion is for capital improvement projects. Blangiardi says the city avoided drastic cuts here because of a solid tax revenue and a booming real estate market. But the city is also deferring prepayments for future health benefits for retirees. And there's also a new hiring freeze that will leave 2,000 positions unfilled. This does not include first responders.
Our operating philosophy, first and foremost, was to protect our employees. We determined that we wanted to make sure that all 8,656 of the men and women who work for the city and county of Honolulu would not be impacted by the fact that as a result of the recession and the pandemic we've been dealing with, we had less money, that they would lose their jobs. So there'll be no furloughs, absolutely no furloughs.
The budget also includes money for transportation and park improvements. So we'll learn more at the council's budget committee hearings that start next Friday. Happening now, everyone is eyeing the U.S. Senate to see what will happen next with President Biden's coronavirus relief package. Natalie Brand has the very latest from Washington, D.C.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the Senate could begin consideration of the president's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief plan as soon as Wednesday night.
The American Rescue Plan will be the single largest anti-poverty bill in recent history.
We're adding all this money to the national debt in the name of a rescue package.
Ahead of legislation moving to the floor, CBS News has confirmed that President Biden struck a deal with moderate Democrats to make the $1,400 direct payments more targeted. They will now end at $80,000 for single filers and $160,000 for joint filers.
He is comfortable with where the negotiations stand. Of course, there are going to be ongoing discussions.
The COVID relief vote in the Senate will look different than the one in the House. There will be up to 20 hours of debate, followed by what's known as a vote-a-rama, during which various amendments can be proposed.
The last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask.
Wednesday, the president and top health officials pushed back after some states, including Texas, announced they are loosening COVID restrictions such as limited capacity and mask mandates.
Every individual is empowered to do the right thing here, regardless of what the states decide.
The White House's COVID response team has also announced a new initiative to help older, high-risk Americans get vaccinated, working with health care insurance providers to help vulnerable senior citizens book appointments and arrange transportation. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Capitol Police say they have new intelligence showing there is a possible plot by a militia group to breach the U.S. Capitol tomorrow. It comes nearly 2 months after a mob of Trump supporters stormed the iconic building in an effort to stop Congress from certifying President Joe Biden's victory. The new threat appears to be connected to a far-right conspiracy theory, mainly promoted by supporters of QAnon, that Trump will rise again to power on March 4th. That was the original presidential inauguration day until 1933, when it was moved to January 20th. Meanwhile, the head of the D.C. National Guard says days before the Capitol riot, Trump administration Pentagon leaders restricted his ability to deploy troops in response to protests.
So the memo was unusual in that it required me to seek authorization from the Secretary of the Army and the Secretary of Defense to essentially even protect my guardsmen. So no civil disturbance equipment could be authorized unless it came from the Secretary of Defense. The Secretary of Defense told me I needed his permission to escalate to have that kind of protection.
And look for so much more on that story coming up tonight on your CBS and NBC Nightly News. Now let's switch gears here just a bit and turn it over to Guy Hoggy with a check of your weather.
How's it on this Wednesday? The trade winds will be downshifting today. Still going to be breezy, make no mistake about that. So air quality is going to be good. And those brisk trade winds will push in a few showers, but a drier air mass is moving in. Not totally dry. As you can see, there are some upstream showers, and we'll see showers for those windward areas in the overnight and early morning hours, but rainfall totals will be insignificant. At least today and tomorrow they will be. So after the morning showers pass, we'll have breezy winds, lots of sunshine, high temperatures running into the low 80s, and then we'll see some evening showers as well, mainly for those windward and Mauka areas. Surf will be building for north and west shores on a new swell, but not till in the afternoon. It's going to get even bigger tomorrow, but below advisory levels. Still got a high surf advisory on for the east shore, but that swell is dropping out too. But at least for now, it's still big and it's still dangerous for all east shores. So the weather should be pretty nice today and tomorrow. But starting Thursday night, look for increasing clouds, increasing showers. Mostly cloudy skies with scattered showers due on Friday and Saturday. Will be quite squishy to start the weekend. And then over on Sunday, look for increasing trade winds. It's going to be quite windy on Sunday and Monday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
More royal drama. A new controversy erupts with Meghan Markle being accused of bullying her staff. Keir Simmons reports from London.
Overnight, a report in the British Times newspaper quotes unnamed palace sources accusing Meghan of bullying staff while living at Kensington Palace. A spokesperson for Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, branding the story a calculated smear ahead of her and Harry's explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey. The Oprah interview expected to reveal more of the pressure Meghan was under. But today's newspaper report claims to quote an email from Harry and Meghan's former communications secretary, which allegedly was sent to a senior royal official. NBC News has not seen the email, but according to the London Times newspaper, it reads in part, "I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year." The email from 2018 is also said to read, "The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights." The former communications secretary still works for Prince William and was a key figure in Meghan's successful legal action against another British newspaper, the Mail on Sunday, for printing a private letter to her father. This morning, Meghan's spokesperson saying the report is based on misleading and harmful misinformation, adding, "We are disappointed to see this defamatory portrayal of the Duchess of Sussex given credibility by a media outlet. The Duchess is saddened by this latest attack on her character, particularly as someone who has been the target of bullying herself." There has been a turnover of royal staff over the years, perhaps unusually so, but then remember, Harry and Meghan's lives have been changing, and we now know about that deep tension between Harry and William. A famous British constitutionalist once said about the royals, "Don't let daylight in on the magic." Well, right now, a lot of daylight is getting in on the inner workings of the palace behind me, and it's not exactly looking magical. Keir Simmons, NBC News, London.
Some good news now, guys.
Yeah, this is the perfect Girls' Day story. So Barbie is entering the White House. The iconic doll is getting a new version in the likeness of former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, it's part of Barbie's Inspiring Women series, which also includes doll versions of women like Billie Jean King, Rosa Parks, and Maya Angelou. Now, Mattel says it chose Roosevelt because she was a champion of policies around civil and economic rights. The company has been working for years to diversify the toy, which was once heavily criticized for promoting a narrow view of beauty. Since that time, Mattel has launched versions of Barbie with different skin tones and disabilities, and dolls with careers in various professions.
One of the best Barbie haircuts I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. And Hawaii actress Kelly Hu announced she has a new starring role. She recently starred in Netflix's Finding Ohana, but now the Kamehameha Schools grad will play Brenda Lee in the upcoming feature film Breast Cancer Bucket List. The character is diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer, and she's determined to track down her daughter, who she gave up for adoption. No word yet on when the film will be out.
Still on my watch list, Finding Ohana. Well, speaking of streaming services, if you watched the Super Bowl, you saw it was loaded with Paramount Plus ads. Well, that finally launches tomorrow, replacing CBS All Access. Price tag, $6 a month, $60 annually. If you want limited commercials, $10 a month, $100 a year for no commercials. I know which way I would choose. Those are competitive rates now. But today, you have 1 day left to get 50% off, which is a great deal. They're offering a promo code. It's called Paramount Plus is that promo code, offering all different sorts of entertainment, but just another streaming service. My bill is getting big. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I can do another one.
No. Well, please be back on our streaming services provided by H&N for free tomorrow with This Is Now at noon every weekday. We'll see you then.